Hi, Studio Recapped here. Today, we're going to talk about a movie called The Shape of Water in the sci-fi and fantasy genres. Spoiler alert is on. Take care. The movie begins with an underwater view of an apartment and a man narrating about a woman named Elisa Esposito. Set during the early stages of the Cold War between the US and Russia, we are introduced to Elisa, a mute girl living in an apartment above a cinema. She shares the building with her neighbor, Giles, a bald artist. Although Elisa was mute, she had full hearing ability. She had never experienced love or a sexual relationship in her life. Every morning, she would engage in self-pleasure while s***ing. Elisa worked as a cleaner at a US government research facility. Her best friend, Zelda, a black woman, also worked there as a cleaner. One day, while everyone was working, the supervisor, Mr. Fleming, introduced Dr. Robert, a scientist who had come for an important mission. A large water tank containing a strange creature was brought into the facility. The responsibility for its protection was assigned to a man named Richard. Elisa tried to touch the glass of the tank, but this gesture angered the creature. The scientists quickly asked the cleaners to leave the area. The next day, Elisa and Zelda saw Richard coming out of the room where the creature was held, with two of his fingers severed. Fleming asked Elisa and Zelda to clean the room within 20 minutes. The room was covered in Richard's blood. Elisa found Richard's severed fingers. While Zelda went to inform Fleming, Elisa stayed behind, observing the creature. The next day, Elisa brought some boiled eggs to the creature and tried to establish a connection. The creature, chained inside the water, initially tried to scare her but eventually began interacting with her, taking the egg. Richard later summoned Elisa and Zelda to his office. During their conversation, Richard noticed the scars on Elisa's neck and realized her muteness might be connected to those marks. He explained that the creature had been captured from a filthy river in South America, where local tribes worshipped it as a god. Richard warned that the creature could be very dangerous and required strict supervision. The following night, Elisa waited for the scientists to leave. She brought her portable music player and some boiled eggs to the creature. Slowly, they started bonding. Elisa continues visiting the creature daily. A bond begins to form between them, and Elisa gradually falls in love with him. Her feelings grow so strong that she starts fantasizing about him while pleasuring herself in her bathtub. A few days later, Dr. Robert accidentally catches Elisa interacting with the creature. He immediately contacts a Russian spy and, after using a secret code, manages to meet their leader. Dr. Robert is revealed to be a Russian spy named Dmitri. He shares detailed information about the creature with the Russians, including its unique ability to connect with others. Elisa alters the security camera's angles and sneaks into the creature's room. Just as she does, Richard enters. Elisa hides in a corner and witnesses Richard torturing the creature with his electric prod. At that moment, General Frank arrives at the facility for an inspection. Based on their findings, the amphibious creature has the potential to give the US a significant advantage over the Russians. Dr. Robert notices Elisa's presence again but chooses not to say anything. Elisa learns about Richard's plan to perform an autopsy on the creature. She tells Giles and asks for his help to free it. Giles initially refuses, but after a failure in his own work, he realizes how lonely he is and decides to help Elisa. Dr. Robert meets the head of the spy team again and proposes stealing the creature. However, the leader rejects the idea and instead gives him an Israeli bomb and a syringe filled with a lethal substance to kill the creature. Richard, who had been planning to buy a car, purchases a Cadillac and drives it to work. Meanwhile, Elisa and Giles finalize their plans to rescue the creature. The next day, Richard deliberately spills water in his office and orders Elisa to clean it up. He propositions her for sex, explaining that her muteness excites him and makes the idea more appealing. Elisa becomes frightened and rushes out of the room. Dr. Robert prepares the syringe to kill the creature, while Elisa adjusts the cameras to begin her rescue operation. Dr. Robert approaches Richard and pleads with him to reconsider the autopsy, but he fails to change his mind. Robert notices the camera angle has been changed. He rushes to the room and catches Elisa trying to help the creature escape. Instead of stopping her, he gives her the key to unlock the chains and explains how to care for the creature. Giles drives a laundry van to the facility, planning to use a fake ID to get inside. Zelda discovers Elisa's plan and tries to talk her out of it. When she can't stop her, she decides to help instead. Richard spots the van and calls security, instructing the guards to stop it. The guard realizes Giles' ID is fake and points a gun at him. At the last moment, Robert arrives and injects the guard with the syringe he had. The group successfully loads the creature into the van. However, Giles gets distracted and accidentally crashes into Richard's brand new car. Richard arrives and starts shooting at them, but they manage to escape quickly. Elisa takes the creature home and places it in her bathtub, filling it with water and adding salt as instructed by Dr. Robert. Richard's team assumes the creature's disappearance was orchestrated by Russian operatives. They interrogate everyone but find no useful leads. At Elisa's home, the creature escapes the bathtub, sees her cat, and attacks it, killing it. Shocked, Giles tries to stop him but ends up getting injured. The creature runs outside. Dr. Robert urges Elisa to release the creature as soon as possible. Elisa decides to wait until it rains so the nearby canal fills up, allowing her to release the creature into the sea. She returns home, saddened by Giles' injury and the death of her cat, but realizes it was the creature's wild instincts, not malice. Elisa finds the creature in the cinema below her apartment and brings him back home. To make amends, the creature touches Giles' wound, seemingly healing it. After that, he starts behaving gently with the other kittens. A few days later, the creature tries to touch Elisa's body. At first, she is hesitant, but eventually, she becomes comfortable and allows him to get closer. The Russian spy team storms into Dr. Robert's apartment, suspecting he lied about killing the creature. They demand the body, but Robert, hiding a knife behind his back, claims he performed an autopsy. The spies pretend to believe him and leave. Richard's reattached fingers have become severely infected, and his body is rejecting them. Meanwhile, Elisa stuffs towels into the bathroom door gaps and fills the entire bathroom with water. Water begins leaking through the cinema ceiling below, angering the owner, who storms upstairs to confront Giles. During this time, Elisa and the creature share a romantic underwater moment in the flooded bathroom. When Giles enters to check on them, he opens the door, causing all the water to spill out. He finds Elisa and the creature embracing each other. Giles, who was bald, notices his hair beginning to grow back, and the injury on his hand is completely healed. This confirms that the creature has healing powers, explaining why some tribes worshipped him as a god. Dr. Robert learns that the creature will be transported out of the US within 48 hours. At the same time, General Frank threatens Richard, telling him that failing to find the creature will have severe consequences. Richard becomes desperate to locate the creature at any cost. Elisa finds it increasingly difficult to imagine life without the creature. She even envisions herself in a wedding dress with him. However, she soon realizes that the creature's health is deteriorating, and he is dying. Zelda contacts Dr. Robert for help, but he has already left his house, preparing to flee the country. Richard and Fleming tail Robert, but Richard eventually goes after him alone. Russian spies confront Robert, but instead of helping him, they attempt to kill him. They shoot him, but Richard arrives just in time, shooting both spies from behind and killing them. Richard interrogates Robert, using torture to extract information. Robert reveals that the people who helped the creature escape were 2 cleaning staff members. Richard goes to Zelda's house and intimidates her husband into revealing that Elisa is the one responsible. After Richard leaves, Zelda quickly warns Elisa about what's happening. Richard arrives at Elisa's apartment but finds it empty. However, the salt-filled bathtub confirms the creature had been there. Elisa and Giles take the creature to release him into the canal. Using Elisa's notes, Richard deduces their location and confronts them there. He shoots Giles and fires at Elisa and the creature. Despite his injuries, Giles musters the strength to attack Richard. Meanwhile, the creature, who appears to have died, suddenly revives. He touches Elisa's bullet wounds, healing her and bringing her back to life. The creature then turns to Richard and kills him by slitting his throat. Moments later, the police, alerted by Zelda, arrive. The creature carries Elisa into the water. With his touch and their deep connection, he revives her fully. The film ends with a poignant, romantic scene of Elisa and the creature uniting underwater, living together in their shared world.